Hey, Chad Imhoff here, EFT Guy. Excited to share with you a few thoughts that I have from group this morning. Man, have such a great group of folks that we're talking about how to help people, how to show up for people. And the question came up, if you're going into your attachment histories, what do we do there? What does it really look like? And especially, couples are all over the place when they come in. Are there some things that I really need to make sure I'm hitting? Some places I need to make sure I'm going? And so as we started to talk about that, we were like, yes, there are definitely some places that you need to make sure you're going, that you're getting to. And so we're going to dive into that. So we're talking about attachment history today and really thinking about how does attachment history work and what are the things I'm trying to get out of attachment history. My main goal is that I understand the process that my clients are employing in relationship. And so I tell my clients, hey, this is a look at the past a little bit, but it's really where did you learn to do some of these things? I like to ask that as an open-ended question. What did you learn from your family of origin about relationships and emotion and vulnerability, things like that? And sometimes they can give me really good, succinct answers and answer most of my questions. And other times they're not so clear. They're like, well, what do I need to know about your family to understand how y'all operated? That's a question I'll ask so that I can kind of get them in the groove of what I'm doing. I'm trying to get a sense of where they're at and what they're doing. And then the next thing I want to go to is well, how did you know if somebody was really angry in your family? If they're mad, did they yell or did they get quiet? What happened there? And I'll do that for 3 or 4 different emotions. So I'll say anger, sadness, scared, joy even. Sometimes people can't talk about celebration. And I'm I need to know that so that if we get to a spot that we should celebrate, how are they going to take that in? That kind of thing. So that's part of what I'm looking for. That's one of the buckets I want to make sure I understand as I'm asking through this. The other thing I want to know is if you needed someone to respond, if you were sad or upset, who did you go to? Did you ask mom or dad or a neighbor or friend? What did you do there? And how did they respond? What did they do for you in those places? Another thing I want to know is in times of need, is there ever a time when they couldn't respond? They weren't able to come to you and give you comfort? Is there injuries or things like that in the past? Trauma, moments of, abuse or things like that maybe happened that didn't get responded to. So I want to be really clear about that as well so that I can kind of have that in my head. Oh, this would be a good reason for them not to be able to respond or receive comfort at times because they're just not used to having it around these places. Right? I always ask about the 4 A's and I try to do that in a delicate way in some sense. I don't love to say, hey, is anybody addicted, right? But I like to say, is anybody turning to things for comfort that maybe aren't so beneficial for the relationship? Is there somebody that, you're going to? Is there an affair possibly going on in the relationship or has there been recently? I'll say, do we want to be married? Is this something we want to fight for, work for? And then I want to say, is there physical abuse? Does everybody feel safe? Nobody feels threatened in the relationship. If we're not safe physically, it's really hard to be safe emotionally. So I want to understand that for my couple, man. So that's kind of a quick overview. I know these are short videos, but just what are we doing in relationship and how does attachment develop? And in this diagnostic attachment interview, what am I looking for? What are the buckets I want to fill? And I really want to start to understand why they do what they do and how that impacts them. So anyway, y'all, we get better together. The more we talk about these things, the more that we think about it, the better we do in session. So thanks so much for checking this out. Really appreciate y'all being here. Have a great week.